guys, I'm back. Okay, so it has been quite a while since I posted a video. We're gonna try to do this in one quick shot or whatever. Maybe not quick, but we need to put a video out. So how about my bestsellers of the year? I've already done the numbers, the math, all that stuff, and I would like to present that information to you. So I'm gonna pull up my thing on my tablet here and we can go over it. Sorry for the background, like, it's a mess. It's just a mess, guys, 100%. Yeah. My hair is kind of curly today, kind of not. I don't even know. Anyways. No, iPad, I don't want to do my software update just now. I need the tablet. Alright, we're going to do this in two parts, guys. So I did put out a video back in June or July, something like that, maybe, of my best sellers in the first part of 2025. So now I'm going to give you the numbers of what were my best sellers in the second half of 2025. And then we will go ahead and put it all together and give you what were my top sellers for 2025 as a whole. There are quite a few patterns here, so hopefully I remember to give you all the details on those. A lot of free patterns, a lot of no-sew patterns, a lot of small patterns, because that's my forte, we know that. So if you're here for the crochet and this is your first time being here, sit down, buckle up. We are in for a ride. I hope that you've had your caffeine. I've had my Red Bull. I'm working on my coffee now. And I'm Kat. So nice to meet you. Unless we already know each other. And then welcome back. Also, we hit 2,500 subscribers today. I'm so excited. We had a really great live last night that got so many subscribers. I've had a really great reel today, or YouTube short or whatever, that's gotten really good subscribers as well. So it's just been a really great day and I'm very excited for that. But let's go ahead and get into it, right? So let's start. Okay. I want to say that technically this is my top 15 list. Technically. But there are a lot of things that are tied. So if we're only talking about part 2 of 2025, we actually have quite a few patterns. So to start out with selling 11 in the second 6 months of the year, we have the mini gator pattern by Hook Crochet Co. If I remember, I'll try to stick a picture somewhere, because I don't have one handy. Of course I don't. But that's a paid pattern from her. I do modify it to do bobble stitches for the feet, instead of the little legs that it has. I just find the little legs a little more time requiring than necessary. So I just do the bobble stitches. They sell just fine. I do the kawaii style eyes on them at the stitch that the bobble is worked into is where I put the eyes. Turns out really cute. People seem to like them. Not one of my best sellers, but I sold 11 of them in that second part of the year, so did really, really well. So then tied for 14th place, we have the mini jellyfish pattern by All From Jade, I think, which is a free pattern on Instagram. I sold 12 of them in the second part of the year. And then also the chubby mouse pattern. Also is from Cluck and Buzz Crochet. Thank you. If you knew that already. I'm glad that I caught it. So we also sold 12 of the chubby mice in that second part of the year. So that's very exciting. the mice they're just cute. They're so chubby. They have little tails. They're pretty easy to do. The jellyfish pattern from All From Jade, she has you do the whole jellyfish and then surface crochet the frill around it. I don't do that. I go down to the last row of the jellyfish cap, skip to the frill, and do it in the front loop only, and then I go back to the jellyfish cap and work the back loop only, and then do the tentacles. So it just makes it more seamless start to finish, and I really enjoy making them. I typically will make 10 of each of these things at a time and then have them till they're gone. Of course, the second half of the year, there's a lot more markets than the first half of the year, a lot more profitable markets. So they definitely did better in the second part of the year. But then we move on to 13th place. There are 5 patterns that tie for 13th place. So, all 13 of these items sold 13 in their quantity. Like, we sold 13 of each of these items, which is very coincidental, I guess. So we have brontosauruses. Where are you? Dinosaur pattern. This is a pattern from Chanel's Crochet. It's a free pattern on Instagram. Love that. It is no-sew. I don't do any modifications with this pattern at all. It's no-sew, and then you surface crochet along a hole left where the tail is and work your way out and finish off there. So you'll have to crochet the hole under the belly closed, and then close the hole at the end of the tail. But it's really easy. I do enjoy this pattern a lot. I sold them for $20. Oh, okay. The chubby mice I sell for $15. The jellyfish I sell for $12. And the mini gators I sell for $15. So that answers that. Then we also have my Teeny Kitties pattern. It's unreleased. I do have it written up. I do plan to release it at some point. I plan on putting it as a tutorial on my YouTube channel here. And then probably a free pattern in my Patreon Discord. If you'd be interested in checking that out, I do have a pattern already for free in there that's usually paid, so you never know. In case you want to come hang out, that's where we're at. So we sold 13 of the Teeny Kitties. They come out very, very little, like this big. I sell them for $10 a piece. Then we also sold 13 of the Frog Hat Chicks. This is a pattern by... This one's by Aki Plushies. This one. Okay, I knew that she was in here somewhere. This is also a free pattern on Instagram. Love it. Love it so much. I don't do anything to modify it at all. I generally will do the hats for all of them first, and then I'll go and work up the bodies and stuff them and stuff. I use safety eyes in the hat and in the little chicken. So those I sell for $15, I think. Where are you, Frog Hat Chickens? So, yay. And then our last, no, not our last. We also have Tiny Ghosts that made it in our top 13, selling 13, which is 13 for ghosts, right? These I sell for $10. A pattern by Love My Hooks on Instagram. It comes out so little. It has 15 stitches around, and it's only 10 rows long. Worth it. I sell them for $10. And then the last thing for 13th place are T-Rexes, and this is a pattern by Sweet Softies. This is a free pattern on her blog. Don't get me wrong, I don't really enjoy patterns that are free on blogs because the ads just destroy whatever I'm looking at it on. So I do screenshot the blog and I put it in my PDF app to be able to see the patterns easier that way. Now I do modify the T-Rex pattern. She has it so that way you do the body of the T-Rex, and then I believe you either surface crochet or sew on bobble stitches for the arms and the legs. I'm not doing that, so I actually converted rows 8 and 11 to be no sew, so that the bobble stitches were worked right in. Other than that, that's really all that I did on this pattern, but I do really well selling this T-Rex pattern, and I prefer this one. I also don't do the spikes down the back of it, and I sell these for $15. So it's a pretty decent pattern. I just made more of them, actually. It's not done, but this is one that I actually have. So this is all that it is. I do them in a bunch of different colors. You know, I usually do like pastels and stuff, but I had this fun green. I thought that it would go well. So there's that one. Hydrate. Caffeinate. I had a hair. Anyways, so that is our top 13. So we've gone through 5, 6, 7, 8 patterns already in 14 minutes. Awesome. Okay. I hope you're sticking with me. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Come check me out on Instagram. Do all the fun things. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what kind of patterns you think will be in the top 10, top 5. What do you think my bestseller is going to be? Let me know. So then we move on to 12th place. 12th place, we have the Loretta Loops axolotl pattern from Instagram. I love this pattern. This is my favorite axolotl to make. There are not many others, like many other crocheters, who make this specific pattern for markets, so it keeps it pretty unique. I do have some over here on the shelf. Actually, they're not done. Same thing. So I have this whole bag of not done things beside me. This is what they look like until you stuff them and add eyes and the frills and stuff. So they look really funny. Kind of like an ice cream cone. But I do modify it so the pattern, instead of, I think you're supposed to chain out and then crochet down, and I don't do that. I actually do a slip stitch and chain 5 and slip stitch, chain 5, slip stitch, chain 5, slip stitch. So you will have 3 gills on either side, and then I do the same thing down here, and I just tuck the ends inside and call it a day. I sell those for $20. I really like that axolotl pattern. It's really fun to do. Now, 12th place, I sold 14 of those axolotls in the second part of last year. And the only reason why it's only 14 is because I didn't make more of them when I ran out. I just started making different things and I didn't have enough time to make bigger items. So then we move on to 11th place. And if you guys don't like the format of doing the top 15, let me know, and next time I'll only do the top 10. I know sometimes we like shorter videos and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Just let me know what you're feeling. So in 11th place, we have another tie. Both of these items sold 15 each in the second part of the year. So we have the Sloth by... This is a hard one. Let me find the first page. This is Antonina Naimanova. I believe that it's Russian. It is the Sloth keychain crochet toy pattern. This is a paid pattern on Etsy, but it is very, very cute. I sell them for $18. Some people think they're monkeys. Some people see them as sloths. They're just leggy. And people have really enjoyed getting them since I started making them. And then also in 11th place are mallard ducks. Now this is a modified pattern by Squishy Moo-Moos. So it's Squishy Moo-Moos on Instagram. It is a free pattern. What I do different are mostly the color changes, right? Hers is listed as a penguin, so we're not doing color changes in the head for black and white. It's just solid green. And then, so row 6 is where you would end the green, and then you're going to do a single crochet white row around, and then you're going to move on to row 7 and change to the brown. It's a really simple pattern. It's so easy to do. It is so cute. It has the chubbiest cheeks. It's adorable. I have some of those in here as well, somewhere. I'm so disorganized, guys. I'm sorry. Caffeinate. So this right here is the little mallard pattern. Like I said, it's supposed to be a penguin when she makes it. I do modify it. Ew. And a stink bug body on it. Gross. Real life video progress, guys. Anyways, cute little chubby mallard. So we have that one. I sell those for $15. We love free Instagram patterns. So now we move into the top 10. Woo! Yay! Top 10. In the top 10, there are quite a few patterns. So both of the top 10 items sold 16 items each. And we have the teeny axolotl, which, what pattern is this? So this is the Claw Machine Pets 2 pattern pack by Simply Seema Crochet. So it turns out this little tiny axolotl, all of this big, and they're made exactly the same as the big ones, except for you don't put little gills on the bottom because it's just too small. So I sell those for $12. And we sold 16 of them. And then the other top 10 item are tiny bees, which I use my own pattern. It's no sew, it's a little bobble stitch. That's a free pattern on my Instagram if you want to check it out. Top 9, we have a 3-way tie. We have, oh no. Guys, okay. I have to make a correction. So when I was talking about the jellyfish in the top 14, it was not the mini jellyfish. It was not the All From Jade jellyfish. It was this jellyfish. It's my big jellyfish. Haley from Crochet Corner 0114 makes these, and I had to make them. They're so freaking cute. I make them with the kawaii eyes. This is a pattern by Cora._.crochet on Instagram. It's a free pattern. I do modify it though. I make the 7 tentacles. I make the cap. I do the frill as you're supposed to. And then instead of there being a separate base piece, I crochet 1 decrease in the back loop only. Right here. So you're going to do your frill in the front loop only, and then 1 decrease in the back loop only around. Then you do a decrease row. For every decrease, you're going to attach a tentacle. So you're going to have 8 stitches, and those 8 stitches are going to cover 7 tentacles, and then you're going to have a bit of a gap. You are welcome to add another tentacle, but I don't really miss it. You know what I mean? I sell these for $35, guys. $35, and they made it in my top 15. So I have those. I just finished 4 of them last night. Like, they were already crocheted, but I needed to stuff and sew and stuff like that. So I did that. And so yeah, that's, sorry, mistakes were made. That is the number 14 jellyfish. And the reason why I know that is because now in the top 9, we have the mini jellyfish that I told you about before. The All From Jade jellyfish that I sell for $12. That is a free pattern on Instagram. We sold 18 each of these top 9 items. So also in the top 9 are, that's another pattern, another 2 patterns actually of mine. My Martha chicken pattern, which is like a little loaf chicken with little tail feathers. Very easy to do. That is a free pattern on my Instagram as well. I do plan at some point to turn that into a tutorial. I, again, just haven't got there yet. I sell them for $15 and they do really well as long as I restock them. Like, I would have sold more in the second half of the year, but I made like 20 or 30 of them, and then I kept putting off actually finishing them. So that's on me. But that's a free pattern on Instagram if you want to check it out. And then also in the top 9 are my baby leggy froggy pattern, which I do have one down here. If I can reach it. Yes. So that's what these are right here. Tiny leggy froggies, tiny baby leggy froggies. They're just so cute. They got the little hands, little feet. I don't bother with a mouth or anything. I just do the kawaii eyes, the nice bobble stitch eyebrows. Some kids think it looks like a tooth. That's okay. It's fine. Just don't make it in gray. Kids don't like gray teeth. Anyways, those I sell for $10. That's an unreleased pattern of mine, so I do plan on putting it out eventually. I'm just not there yet. So, yay. Then we move on to number 8, which are possums. Possums, guys. And this is the Murphy Crochet possum pattern off of YouTube. I enjoy watching Murphy Crochet. I don't know if she's putting videos out as often. I feel like she's not in my algorithm as much right now, but I do enjoy watching her videos. When I'm caught up on all of my other YouTube, like, I will look for her. But this keychain possum is what I use. It's very quick. I don't think I do anything to mod it. I watched the YouTube video a handful of times and then actually wrote it down in my tablet, so I don't have to keep going back and watching the YouTube video every time I want to make it. So YouTube only counts 2 views on a video anyways. So like, if I watch the same video 100 times, they're not going to count it with 100 views. They're going to count it as 2. Just so you know that. So possums, and I sell them for $15 a piece. And with this number 8 slot possum, I sold 20 of them in the second half of the year. 20. So they did really, really well. Then we move on to number 7, which we sold 21 of each of these things. So you can see all of these are very close in numbers together, right? The one pattern are my spider pattern, which this is it right here. We start here and work our way back and then continue on to the butt. It is no sew completely because I hate sewing things. The pattern also includes like the fang instructions, but I never do the fangs because they sell just as well without adding them. People love the eyes, having all of the multiple eyes, so I do make sure to add 4 eyes every time. I still think they would sell if you only had 2, but spiders have a million eyes, so why not? So I do make these in a bunch of different colors. This is a pattern that is released. It is a paid pattern of mine on my Etsy shop, on my website, on my Ravelry page. So if you wanted to check that out, definitely let me know. It's also a free perk in my Discord through Patreon. So come hang out with me for a month and you can get this free pattern. It'll be a good time. Maybe you'll want to stay. I don't know. We do lots of fun things in the Discord. But, so we sold 21 of these. I sell them for $15 each. I think it's worth it, personally. Then also in number 7, we sold 21 snakes. So the snakes are Hook Crochet Co. And that is a free pattern on her Instagram. I don't do anything in this pattern to modify it at all. I find it a very simple pattern. It doesn't make them too long. And it's not the typical pattern that is just around and around and around and around and around you go a million times. It is like the long tubey snake, but there are decreases the whole way. So makes it very easy to keep your mind in it. Because I know if I'm repeating the same row over and over again, I'm eventually going to lose my train of thought. Because that's just me. So I also sell these for $15, and they do really, really well. Boy and girl colors for sure. And with those, I do very large solid black eyes on them. So then we move into the number 6 slot, which is so exciting. We have 3 things in the number 6 slot. Each of those 3 things, we sold 26 of each of them. So we have stingrays. This is the free pattern from Chez du Coton. It is on Instagram. Yeah, this is a free Instagram pattern. I do the tops in a solid color, and her pattern tells you that once you finish the wings, I guess, if that's what they're called, row, to switch to white and do the whole bottom in white. But I do one more row of the color, and then I do that little middle piece in white. Just personal preference. That's why I like to do it. I make these in Sweet Snuggles Light, so I don't know. They come out a decent size. I was selling these for $13, but they were selling so well at $13 that I actually raised the price to $15 on them, and they still sell just as well. So very exciting for that. Free pattern on Instagram. I sell them for $15. We sold 26 of them. So really freaking cool. Then we also have mini pandas, which is a pattern. Crochet on Instagram, another free pattern, guys. So this pattern, their cover photo has a black bear, a koala, and a very light gray and white panda bear, and like a fuzzy color. So you may not even think about it being a panda to begin with, but it works super, super well. People really love the panda. I started making the pandas in March, and it instantly became one of my best sellers. I sell them for $15. We sold 26 of them. And I don't do anything in this pattern at all to modify it. So, very exciting. I love that pattern. Then we do the other number 6 slot are leggy frogs. So all of the people who talk about how hard it is to do the leggy froggies, or how hard it is to sell the leggy froggies, it might not be your area. It could be the pattern that you choose. It could be the finishing touches. It could be the yarn color that you're choosing. Me personally, I use this pattern as a base. And this is a pattern by Palomia Tejedoras on Instagram. But the pattern is not on Instagram. I got this pattern on Ravelry. It's a free pattern, but it makes the very standard kind of long, skinny, leggy froggy. But I do modify this a ton, to the point that I don't even really know whose design it is anymore. But this is the pattern that I started with, and I modified a ton. I've decreased rows from it. I have changed the counts for the arms and the legs. I do the bobbles differently. But you know, a leggy frog is a leggy frog. The purpose, though, of what I'm saying is when you do a leggy frog, try doing one that is much shorter in stature, like short and fat. Just short, I don't know, short and fat with super long legs and arms. Instead of the long and skinny rectangle leggy frogs, and see if that makes a difference. I also very rarely do the leggy frogs in a solid color. I do them always in like a variegated color. So like that variegated yarn or that variegated yarn. I think I've also done them at one point in this variegated yarn. Like I almost never use a solid color. So I don't know. And then I also use the kawaii style eyes. So like these. So I don't know if any of those changes would help you. I would encourage you to give them a try. But I sold 26 of them just in the second part of 2025 at $15 a piece. So they are one of my top 10 bestsellers. I do recommend it. Just play around with the patterns and play around with how you're doing them. Anyways, though, we are going to move on to our top 5 bestsellers, which are top 5 bestsellers. We sold 28 of each of these. And one of them, so we have the Booty Frog. Now, I did use 2 different Booty Frog patterns. So initially we were using Ted the Thick-Toed from Crochet, which is another free pattern. He turned out quite a bit bigger, like this big or so. I always do him in solid greens. Try for brighter greens like kiwi or I don't have it around me, but like true green from Bernat Blanket. It's just green, no extra, just green. Those sell the best for me. It does take quite a bit to shape the booty just right, which sounds so funny to say, but it just takes practice. You don't want to pull that string too tight or you're gonna snap it. But you're going to essentially want to work on shaping it. You're going to tuck the butt crack in while you're pulling on the string gently, and then you're going to go around again, and you're going to tuck it a little bit more, and you're going to pull it a little tighter, and you're just going to keep doing that until it's just right. You're going to want to make sure that the cheeks are evenly, like, plump, which sounds, this is just so funny, but that's a free pattern on Instagram, guys. I sell the bigger one for $18. And then I actually, Maria had recommended another one. It is Big Booty Bob, the Chubby Frog from Travel Crochet AU on Instagram. It is another free pattern. Now, I do not add a smile to this guy. And I definitely work on placement of my eyes. When I put eyes into things with bobble stitches, like where the bobble stitches are supposed to be eyebrows, I always put my stitch marker in the stitch that you work your bobble stitch into, because it makes the eyebrows really shape the eye properly. If you put the eye right in the center of the eyebrow, first off, your safety eye is probably going to come out because there are giant gaps between the stitches. But secondly, it just kind of looks funny. A little bit. I don't know, it just looks off. So I always put them kind of at the bottom of the stitch. Other than that, I do not do anything to modify this. Free pattern. I sell them for $15 at that size. So Ted the Thick-Toed from Crochet and Big Booty Bob from Travel Crochet AU. $18 and $15. Between the two of them, we sold 28 booty frogs in the second part of the year. Then we have mini octos, but not the mini octo that you would think. Okay, anyways, not the octo you probably are imagining. It's not a tiny little octo. These, I call them mini octos. They're really called little octos. This is a free pattern on Instagram from Stitchin' with Abby. And here is an example of one right here. I do put safety eyes right here. Sometimes I will do them no-sew, where I'll just embroider like the kawaii V for eyes. Sometimes I will do like the V and then like a mouth. It just depends. This one I decided to do in, I think it's Bubblegum from Parfait Plush. But I don't do anything different on this pattern than what it tells you to do. I just love the curly little tentacles. This is a nice filler item. I didn't realize how many of them I actually sold throughout the year. They feel like they're a lot slower to sell than last year, but they're still in my top 5, so they have to be a good seller. I sell these for $15, guys. So another free Instagram pattern that made the top 5. And then in our top 4, can you guess? Can you guess what would be in the top 4? Okay. Tiny turtles, guys. Tiny turtles. Now, there are a variety of patterns out there for tiny turtles. The one that I use specifically is Tiny Turtle from Mel's Crocheted Creations. This is a paid pattern through her Etsy shop. It's kind of the bane to my existence. For the last 2 years, I have been selling these tiny turtles at $10 a piece, and this year I will be upping them to $12 a piece because they sell so well. It really is hard to keep up. Like, I hate making the little heads on the tiny turtles. I don't know why. It's just such a small area to work in. So I want to keep making them to sell because I know that they're a good seller, but I kind of want it to be harder to sell out as fast, because I can bring 10 to a market and sell all 10 easy, like in a one-dayer. So I am going to up them to $12 and see how they do next year. Maybe we'll find some other top sellers. Maybe we'll find a different turtle pattern, because that is my intention. Is I've always had the tiny turtles, and I don't ever have big turtles because the tiny turtles do so well. So I want to do some bigger turtles and see if, like, okay, if the tiny turtles are $12 and I sell out of those, people who still love turtles will be more likely to buy the bigger ones. So that's the idea. That's what we're going to do. I do sell them. Like I said, I sold them for $10 over the last year. I sold 30 of them, and that's only because, or not over the last year, over the last 6 months of 2025. And that's only because I didn't make more. Like, I had been out of the tiny turtles for quite some time and just did not restock them. So, yeah. I am trying to get ahead of the tiny turtles this year. I have a bag here. This bag is full of 50 tiny turtle shells. So we will see how quickly I can actually make them. So that I won't have to work so hard throughout the rest of the year. So then we move on to our third bestseller, which is, drumroll, I don't know if you can even hear that, Triceratops, guys. Triceratops. Let me see. Trike? Yes. So this is the Triceratops pattern by Club Crochet. Club Crochet has a million free patterns that they offer for free on their blog. We talked about this a little bit. I don't really enjoy patterns that are on a blog. The ads are glitchy as heck. So I used to make this Triceratops pattern in velvet yarn, and I sold them for $10. and I really got burnt out on those. So I started making them out of Sweet Snuggles light yarn, where now I sell them for $15. They sell just as well. They sell just as well at $15. Bigger yarn, same effort to make, maybe even a little easier for more money. And it's another free pattern. I do, you know, there are two ways to do this pattern. So with the frill, you can either do it so that it's just like a round frill, and then you can take a yarn and kind of embroider the white around it, or you can do the pointed frill. Kids are coming again. Kids. Okay. So I do the frill with the pointed spikes, which I feel like is more traditional for a Triceratops. And then you can also choose to just embroider white spots on the nose and on the forehead for horns. Or you can do what the pattern says, which tells you to essentially create separate horns and then tie them on. I don't do that either. I surface crochet the horns on. So I use the same pattern, but I surface crochet onto the nose. I do the instructions, and then I slip stitch back into the same spot. Filming around a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old is hard, even when their friend is over. All they do is fight. Anyways. So I do the horn instruction, but I slip stitch into the nose, do it, slip stitch back, and then I tuck the ends inside. And then I do the same thing on the forehead, basically just above where I put the eyes. I place the eyes first and then put the horns in where it makes sense. So I sell those for $15 a piece, and I sold 31 of them in the second part of the year. So that is fun. So in our runner-up for bestseller is Mini Loaf Cats. Now, again, this is another pattern that you may not think of. This pattern is called the Pocket Kitten from Sweet Bay Crochet, or Sweet Bee Crochet. I don't know which it is, but it's Sweet BEA Crochet. This is the same Mini Loaf Cat pattern that I've been using for like 2 years now. People love it to pieces. They love the shape of it. They love the ease of it. Her pattern does give the instruction to color change to make it a calico if you would like to. I have never made a calico. But I know that they're very popular and I get asked about it a lot. Now, the modifications that I do on this pattern are the ears. When you're crocheting the kitten up, it wants you to leave the front loop open in row 5, where you will later come on and surface crochet the ears onto it. I don't do that. So in row 5, ouch. In row 5, I will single crochet 2, and then I will do the instructions for the ear in the next 3 stitches, and then I will single crochet 2, and then I will, ow, my cat just bit me. I will, in the front loop only, do the ear stitches again, and then I'll continue on with the row. I do also modify this row because it tells you to leave 4 single crochet between the bobble stitch feet, and there should only be 3. So I definitely recommend that. So you're going to end the row with 2 single crochet instead of 1. Ow, the cat just bit me again. And other than that, let's see. Yeah. When I make my kitties, though, I do the T nose always. but then I embroider a butthole on the back, the little X. People love it. They sell like crazy. I know adding the butthole is not for everybody, but it's a simple touch that makes it really easy to sell. I find it funny. I don't understand, but I find it funny. The mini loaf cats I do sell for $15 a piece. So there's that. And I sold 45 mini loaf cats. And that also is because I didn't do another big restock of them towards the end of the year. I should have. But then our number one bestseller for the part 2 of the year are tiny chickens. Tiny chickens, guys. These are the little squish chicks by Making Things Naughty on Instagram. Ow! My dang cat. So I use Sweet Snuggles Light, Parfait Plush, any of that. And these are what I do. So they're just these tiny little chickens. I sell these for $10. They're so freaking cute. Now I think this pattern is actually called Squish Chicks, and it's in her Claw Machine Pets. This is a pattern you have to find exclusively in her highlight section or in her post on Instagram. You are not going to be able to purchase this pattern anywhere. You can only find it on Instagram. So with this pattern, you can do it in solid colors and it sells just fine. Or variegated colors. You can do it in fun colors, actual bird colors. Her instructions, let's see, let's read it over. I think the only things that I do differently are I change my bobble stitches. So she does a regular bobble stitch with 4 partial double crochets made into a bobble stitch. I change it and I do 3 partial triple crochets to make a bobble stitch. I don't know why, I just prefer it better that way. So in row 6, it wants you to do a half double crochet in the back loop only behind the wings. I just do a single crochet. I don't know if it makes a difference, but that's how I do it. Then, so she makes her chicken's comb separately and then she sews it on, is what it looks like, because you make it and then at the end it says finish off with a tail and then attach to the top of the head. I don't do that. I slip stitch right here between these rows and then do what it says, the chain 4, chain 6, chain 4. So you chain 4, slip stitch, chain 5 or 6, slip stitch, chain 4, slip stitch, finish off, tuck your ends inside. So that's what I do. I use these big kawaii eyes. It makes them so much cuter. And I embroider the little beak in the matching colors, the feet. So yeah, and I sell those for $10. Now, the tiny chickens. Do you want to guess how many of those I sold in just the last 6 months of the year? Take a moment to guess. Just a few more seconds. I sold 96. So that is $960 in tiny chickens for just the last 6 months of the year. It was insane. Insane. It's just, it's crazy, guys. Crazy. Then we are going to take a minute to kind of talk a little bit about bestsellers as a whole. Our top 3 bestsellers were still, for the whole year, Tiny Turtles, Mini Loaf Cats, and Tiny Chickens. So for the entire year, we sold 134 Tiny Chickens. We sold 86 Mini Loaf Cats, 68 Tiny Turtles, 52 Triceratops, 47 spiders, my pattern, 42 possums, 41 leggy frogs, regular size leggy frogs, and axolotls, the big ones. 40 baby leggy frogs, my pattern. 39 mini pandas. 37 snakes. 36 mini octos and 36 booty frogs. 35 Martha chickens, my pattern. 33 each of stingrays, mini jellyfish, and mallard ducks. 23 tiny bees, my pattern. 22 T-Rexes. 21 brontosauruses. And 21 mini mushy boys, which this is the only pattern that is not on our bestseller for the second half of the year, but is in our number 16th slot, tied with brontosauruses for the year as a whole. This is a pattern, a free pattern by Knittery, Knittory, on Instagram. It is free. I make these in Parfait Plush, Sweet Snuggles Light. They are small. These are not the original mini mushy boy pattern. These are the minis. I do them in red, like dark red, dark green, hot pink, and baby blue for the most part. And then I'll use scraps to do a bunch of other colors. But for the most part, the red is what sells the most. I sell these for $13 and they sell really well. The only reason why Mini Mushy Boys did not make it into the second half of the year top 15 is because for some reason I did not make any Mini Mushy Boys for the second part of the year. I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't feel like it. So all 21 of those Mini Mushy Boys were sold in the first 6 months of 2025. So I did take the time to make 20 more of these, and at some point throughout the year I'm going to have to make 20 more, so that way I have them for the second half of the year as well. But I did want to note that that is definitely an honorable mention as a whole. And then in our 17th place for the year as a whole, we have the sloths, where I sold 20 of them for the entire year. So I'm glad we were able to go over these patterns. There are so many free patterns on here. There are a handful of my patterns on here. If you're interested in any testing opportunities, in any advanced introduction to patterns that I'm working on, if you have any suggestions for patterns that I should make, anything like that, if you want just a cool, small, cozy crochet community to hang out with, check out my Patreon. I just hit 2,500 subscribers here on YouTube today, actually. So very excited about that accomplishment. Really excited, for the next couple months, maybe in the next couple months I can hit 3,000. Wouldn't that be super cool? Wouldn't it be cool to keep on the trajectory? Like, if I could hit 4,000 by the end of the year, like, holy crap, guys, that would be dreams. So cool. But anyways, check out all the things, check out the socials, check out the pattern stores. It was really nice to meet you guys. If you're new, if you hung out the whole time, put a mushroom in the comments down below. Let me know which pattern are you itching to try. Are there any of these patterns on my top 15, top 17 that do not they don't sell in your area? How far off are my prices for your prices? And on that note, let me encourage you to raise your prices. You never know if something can sell at a price if you don't try. That's the biggest thing. I didn't know that these things could sell at these prices until I tried. And there are lots of people in my area who charge a lot less for similar things. Like these mushrooms, there's a lot of people that would sell them for, $8. I would not. And it's just, know your worth. Know your worth. It's a skill not everybody has. The yarn's not cheap anymore. You gotta pay shipping, or you gotta drive forever and a mile to get there, and it's a skill. It's a post-apocalyptic skill, guys. But anyways, thanks for being here, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Bye!